Hello and welcome to GK videos. In this video I'm gonna talk about the various features and the overview about IX2 and IX2-DL. So in my previous video I've demonstrated how to access or how to discover an IX2 device using the Lenovo EMC Storage Manager software and the Windows command line tools. And in this video I'll go with the various options available with the IX2 or IX2-DL device, and I'll just explain what those options are. So let us get started. So I've already logged into my IX2 device using my credentials. So I'll just go to all features. So the first option what I see is Amazon S3 Cloud. So this option is nothing but a client. So if you have, for example, an Amazon account where you have space you bought from Amazon Cloud and you have an account, then you can set up, for example, you want to back up your data from the NAS to the Amazon Cloud over internet. You can certainly configure it. You just turn it on and enter the access key, secret key, and bucket name. You must have been received by Amazon. And if you do not have an account, you can create it. Well, this is a paid, so whatever space you want to have with Amazon, you need to pay for that. And the shares are nothing but the local shares, whatever the shares you have on your NAS device created, and you want to have backup from that particular share, you can select any of the share. So this is about Amazon S3 the client. Well, the next one is application manager. So here you can install all the third-party SDK applications. You can develop, if you're a developer, you can develop an application and install it on the NAS, or maybe if you have secure Mindtree application for video surveillance, or Acronis backup, or Arocus surveillance, something like that, you can just add the application and browse the file, the SDK application, and now you should be able to install it on this NAS device. And if you have already any application installed, you would see the applications listed here, which you can delete, or maybe you can re-add, something like that. Then the third icon, it is Atmos Backup. This is again a client software which you need to install if you have account with any Atmos cloud service provider. So it works as Amazon, and it is a paid version. So you need to buy space from the service provider, and this Atmos Backup is a client where you can push the data over the internet from the NAS shares to your Atmos cloud storage. And the fourth one is Access Video Hosting. So this one for access cameras, where you can store the video surveillance camera recordings on the NAS. You can configure it, so by default it will not be installed. Once you click on the link, and if your NAS device is connected to internet, the NAS would fetch the installation software from Access Video or Access website. So the next option is configuration, backup, and restore. So this option is very useful, and I find it very useful because I can back up all the configurations, whatever the configurations I have done so far with my device. For example, the RAID configurations, then the user accounts, the share names, and the share access permissions, then the copy job, date, time, and the IP address, and of course the host name. So these options, or maybe these configurations, will be taken backup using this application or this tool, and it will be useful to restore it in the case where your device gets crashed and you get a new replacement or maybe a replacement product from Lenovo support. And apart from that, it is also useful. I find it very useful when you have multiple devices with same range. For example, you have tens of IX2 devices and you want to have the unique configuration across all the devices. You can just configure one device with the configuration set up in your organization. Then you take a backup of the file and you restore the file to another device, and whatever the configuration you have in your first device will also be replicated to the other devices. So well, that's all about the backup, configuration and restore. Then the next option is copy jobs. Copy jobs, it's an inbuilt application to back up your data from any client, Windows or Linux, to the NAS device and vice versa. So how does it work? I'm gonna put up a new video for that, and I'll explain in detail how to configure it. I'll demonstrate on how to configure the copy job, but I'll just restrict myself that this is useful in, it's very basic application which comes up to back up the user data from any client computer, for example Windows 7 or Windows 8, something like that, where you have user data and you want to schedule it maybe every day at certain point of time, and the job would start from the NAS device and it will pull all the data from the client computer to the NAS storage shares. Well, then the next option what I see is date and time. This is where you change the date and time according to your region. So for me, I'm from India, so I've just selected it's Chennai, Kolkata, and for example you have a time server. You can actually specify the time server and you can synchronize with your time server. So otherwise you can put it automatically synchronized with the internet time server, so be fine. Or you want to change it to manually set date and time, you can do that as well. Well, the next option is device identification, and just for information, this firmware is 4.0.8. So there is a new firmware released which is 4.1.102 and 104. So I've not installed, I've not upgraded my device yet, but if I would upgrade to that version, the icons and the interface gonna change. So I'll just put up one more video for that as well, maybe next couple of weeks, and that is completely different, where the user interface, everything will be completely changed. And for the first time user, or maybe you've been using or maybe you've been familiar with 4.0 or maybe 3.2 firmware, then it will be little confusing with the latest firmware 4.1. So and the options and the icons going to change. It will be little kind of confusing, but not much. So coming back to the point, so the device identification, this is where I would change the device name and the device description name. I've just left it as default. I don't want to touch that. And the other options I have is work group and active directory. So since my device is in work group, I put up in work group. You have the work group with different name, you can mention that as well. Or maybe you have a domain controller and you want to integrate with that in your environment, you can certainly do that. Once I click on active directory options, then the available options are like the domain name. It's for example yahoo.com or maybe corp.yahoo.com. that is called the fully qualified domain name. So you need to enter that. Then the preferred server is nothing but your AD server or the domain controller server, the primary server you can provide the host name or IP address, preferably IP address, because sometimes if the DNS doesn't work or maybe doesn't resolve the host name, then there will be a problem. So possibly a IP address would do, and the organizational unit is not mandatory. You can keep it blank. Then the administrator username and the password. So this is important. The username, whatever you're using, should have the admin rights, or you can directly use the administrator account of your AD server. And the users groups refresh interval, it's something like the polling information. I mean, how soon you want your NAS device to contact the AD server to refresh the information, or to find out if there are any new entries being added to the Active Directory server. You can set it up daily, weekly, hourly, or never. And local network encryption SSL, it's not required if it's LAN. Well, you can also select always if you want to be. And the remote network encryption SSL, well, yes, I will put it yes, always. And the last option, which is enable trusted domains. The trusted domains are nothing but, for example, you have two domains. Maybe let's say, for example, yahoo.com and google.com, both are different domains, and they come together, merge together. So in that case, what happens is both the Active Directory or domain controllers will make a trusted relationship. In that case, if you enable this and you are providing the google.com information and you enable it, the NAS would also try to fetch the information from yahoo.com domain controller as well. So it will pull up all the information, user accounts and group accounts. If you want the NAS to pull those information, it should do that. If you do not have trusted domains, then all these information would do, and you don't need to check this. So going back to the main page again, just to see like what other options we have. So the next option is drive management. So the drive management, where you configure your RAID options. So if I go to settings, I would see that the protection is mirror RAID 1. So it's like the RAID 1, it protects with single drive failure, and it also holds the data. For example, I have almost 2 terabyte each disk, so 4 terabyte, but I should be able to use only 2 terabyte because RAID 1 will have the same copy, identical copy across the disks. And you also have none, RAID 0, and none, which is like no RAID at all. And the RAID 0 is it's striped without parity, and none, where you don't configure any RAID, but it's just bunch of disks. So you can basically if you want to use the complete 4 terabyte space, or maybe whatever the disk size is you have. So for example, 1 terabyte each disk, you want to use 2 terabyte capacity. If you have 2 terabyte each disk, then it's 4 terabyte capacity. Then you can either select none, RAID 0, or none, the just bunch of disks, and you should be able to use the complete space of the device. But it is not recommended, because if any one of the drive goes down, or maybe it gets failed, then you are definitely losing your data. So that is not recommended. And the other options we have, the disk write caching. So this option is useful when you have a UPS and power backup in your network, in your environment. And what it does is basically, when you write a data from the client to the NAS device, it doesn't directly write to the NAS disk. Instead, it stores the data or the information on the cache temporary memory, and whenever if there is any request comes up for that particular data from another customer, user, or maybe another computer, then the data, whatever stores on the memory, it passes that information to the client, So this process is very fast, reading or writing the data on the temporary cache. And once it finds the temporary memory it's going to be full, then it destages, which means the data gets written to the hard disks. And this is how the process works. And the read and write performance obviously will be a little faster comparing to the normal data writing directly to the hard disks. But there is a disadvantage of this option: when the power goes down, or maybe the UPS doesn't function well, or there is a power outage or something like that, or maybe somebody without noticing pulls out the cable of the drive or the device, or maybe something like that happens. In that case, what happens, whatever the data is not being written to the hard disk will be lost. And there is also a slight chance that the file system might get corrupt. So this is only recommended when you have UPS and the power backup. Otherwise, since I don't use UPS, so I'll keep it always disabled. And the next option we have is enable periodic consistency check. So what this option does is it will periodically check the consistency of the RAID. So we have RAID 1 here, 2 disks. So each time what it does, when you reboot the device, or maybe you shut down every day, or you turn it on every day morning, so whenever the boot sequence happens, it try to find the integrity of both the disks. And also it runs in the background every month, the first week, to ensure that both the drives have identical data, and if there is any data missing, then the parity information will be written from one disk to another. So this option does work across all the RAIDs. For example, you have RAID 5 with 4 disks. If you are using any PX series device, or maybe IX2-DL series, then the periodic consistency does work in the same way. And just for your information, whatever the options we are discussing here, so all the options you would find mostly across all the Iomega Lenovo devices. It could be any cloud devices of IX2-200, or maybe IX4-200D, or IX4-300D, or you take any PX series device or rack mount device. If it's cloud edition device, you would see all the options remain same. There are a couple of options which you might not find in IX series. Those are McAfee antivirus, and then the Arcus software. So those are the backup software. Those two will not be available, but apart from that, you would see all the options remain same. So the next option is email notification. This is where you can configure your email alerts. You want to receive emails from the NAS if there is any hardware failure occurs, or maybe any software, something like that. You can provide your email address here and configure these details. For example, you do not have any SMTP server, you don't have to configure anything. Just click on send a test email message, and the NAS will do rest. If you have a SMTP server and you wanna receive emails through your SMTP server and from a particular email address, you can certainly configure it. You can provide the email login and password of the account which you are providing, the email address, sender email address, and the sender email address should be able to authenticate with your email server, the Exchange server, and click the encryption connection, which will be the connection will be encrypted. Click on apply. So that's about email notification. Well, we'll see what other options we have. Okay, so the next one is energy saving. So This is basically what it does, is it will save the energy. It means that, for example, let's say the device, it is not being used for a long time, or maybe you access it periodically, maybe 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours later you access it again. So in those cases you can actually use this energy saving feature. What it does is, it will, if it's never, then it will never turn on the drives. But if you select any of it, 5 minutes, 15, 30 or 1 hour, so this device will wait until 1 hour. For example, if I put it 1 hour, it will wait until 1 hour to see if anyone is accessing the NAS device. If it's being idle for 1 hour, then the spin down of the drives will shut down. So which means that the drives will not rotate. And you can also select the indicator brightness, whether the front LEDs you want to have it medium, low or high. So this actually saves the energy. I'll keep it never. I don't mind if my device runs all the time. So the next option, or the icon what I see, is the event log. This event log is the basic information what it would provide for any changes you make on across the device, or you configure anything new, something like that. So any configuration changes or anything happens on this device from web interface, you would find all the information. And let's say, for example, if you have a drive failure, that will be noted down here somewhere. You can find it, drive 1 or drive 2, something like that. You create a share, or you create an account. Anything you do, that will be recorded here. So this is for administrative purpose. For example, you have a couple of guys who work on the NAS. You want to find out which user has done what, you can find it. Well, just to add one more point, so this event log would not capture all the information about user activity underneath any shares. For example, you have a share, and any user is accessing the share from his client computer and is trying to delete the data, or maybe he's modifying some data underneath of the share. Those information will not be recorded here. So anything you are doing by accessing the NAS web console, those information will be recorded from the user perspective. And apart from that, any hardware or software changes happens, in those cases those will be recorded. Alright, so that's about event log. And the next one is external storage. So if you have an USB drive and you have connected it to the NAS device, if you come here and click on here, it would actually show your external hard disk, and you want to eject it. You will also find an option to eject. Since I have not connected any USB drive currently, so I cannot show you that. And the one it's Facebook, where you can connect with Facebook, providing your username, password. So what it does is, you can enable the Facebook active folder. In the sense, if you have multiple shares, you can actually create a share, or maybe you can use the existing shares by default comes with the NAS. And if you enable the active folder and provide your user information, so what it does is, whatever the information, for example pictures or something like that, you store it on that particular share. It will directly upload those pictures to your Facebook account. Well, I don't find this so much useful when you work in your office, or maybe you use this device for some other purpose. And the other options, we have the factory reset. So the factory reset is where for example your friend is borrowing your device, or maybe you are returning this device, or you're giving this device for some other production, or maybe some other project in your work environment. So before giving for any new project, what you can do, you wanna have you want to have to bring this device to factory default, so that no other information is being misused by some other department or maybe by some other users. So in that case, what you can do is you can factory reset with quickly delete all the data, or maybe securely delete all data. So what it means, that it would completely erase all the existing data, including the IP address, host name, then the user informations, the passwords, everything will be removed. And the first option, quickly delete all data, which would delete everything, and in a way, like maybe hardly it takes 15 to 20 minutes. So what does it mean? That it would just delete the data. However, if this device, you send it to any data recovery center, there is a possibility that the data recovery software can recover the data. The second option is securely delete all the data. It's gonna take time. Even I've seen cases where in my last test I was checking this option, where it took me almost all days to delete the data securely, which means that even the data recovery softwares will not be able to recover the data. So if you have any financial data, something like that, then you can better choose this option. However, it's gonna take time. And the other options we have, like after reset, what you want this NAS to do. For example, once the factory reset option is completed, the operation gets completed, you ask the NAS to power off, or maybe you ask the NAS to restart. It does. So that's about the factory reset option. And the feature selection option is nothing but what it does. You have many icons where you see under all features, and you really don't want to have these many icons here. For example, you don't want to use Facebook, or you are not using Flickr, something like that. What you can do is you can actually disable those icons, so that it will be invisible for under your all features. So for example, you see the tick marks here, so these are all visible right now. So for example, if I don't like the Facebook icon to come under all features, I can turn it off, and when I go back and check under all features, I should not find that Facebook icon. Yes, I don't see the Facebook icon. So likewise, you can actually hide those options, I mean the icons whichever are not useful for you, just to customize in a way that when you log into the device, you should be able to find the options very easily. So but remember one thing, I mean, for example, you have configured some copy jobs, and you are turning it off here. It doesn't mean that the jobs will turn off. The jobs will be running in the background, but you would not see this option, or maybe this icon under all features. That's all the difference. But if there is any job running for anything, or let's say device identification, this is not actually you are disabling the service, but you are just making this icon invisible from your all features. That's all. So the next option is Flickr. Well, this is the same what we discussed about Facebook. This one is also, you can actually select a share, and you can post your videos or maybe the pictures using your account, and it will directly post it under your Flickr account or maybe the website. So the next one is the homepage settings. The homepage settings it's nothing but what happens is when you create user accounts with non-privileged accounts. So what happens when the when they try to access the NAS web console, they enter the username password, and they actually don't find all these options what I see right now, because I've logged in with the admin account, or the account which I've logged in has admin privileges, so I'm able to find all the options. But when a normal or maybe a non-privileged user account logs in, he'll not be able to see all these options. So what he sees is he can only see the shared information. For example, if you create an account called test and you have provided access permissions for a couple of shares, so when he logs into the NAS web console, he'll only be able to see those shares, nothing else. So, and the home page setting is for that. Actually, when you log into the NAS web console and when you turn on this home page, what it does is it will directly gets you into the NAS homepage, and you can actually select the slides, what slides you want to have, something like that. But majorly I don't see this is much useful when you work on this NAS web console regularly, because when you enable this, then you have to again open up another console where you have to click on the settings and a new window to open. But I've just disabled it because I don't want to have multiple windows open for me. And the other option is iSCSI. So this device does support iSCSI. So this is where you can actually turn on the iSCSI service and create a iSCSI drive, add on iSCSI, and you can actually create the iSCSI drive, give the name, the size, everything. And I have already a video which is posted in YouTube with the demonstration of iSCSI configuration with Windows. If you want more information, you can actually, I would suggest to go through that video as well. Then the languages option, this is where you can set the language, what language you prefer. For example, English does, or any language. I mean, you are from different part of region and you wanna have your own native language set. So here you can see a lot of languages are available, so you can select based on that. And the media server, well, the media server, you can use it with any DLNA client, or maybe you have media server of like Twinkie server or something like that, and you want to aggregate all the videos available in your network. I mean, you have a couple of computers which does have some data of video, video files or audio files, and those are being shared in your network. You can actually aggregate all the media servers using this option. So what it does is it will enable all the shares, and it will aggregate once. And also Lenovo does provide the Twinkie media server, which you can install in a client, and you can start accessing all the videos, audio files across your network in one single page, and you can start playing those videos. It's just like a website where you're playing songs or maybe videos, something like that. But using this, it will consume a lot of CPU and memory. So for example, if you are using this device for home purpose, yes, definitely you can do it. But for office purpose users, this is not required, and disabling this would save a lot of resources, CPU and memory. But the next option is Moji backup. Well, the Moji backup also does work like what Amazon S3 or Atmos client. So for this, you also need to have an account, and once you have the account information, you can enter those and start backing up your data to the cloud. Well, this is also a paid version. Then the next option is network. This is where you can change the network information of your NAS device. So for me, I've already enabled the DHCP, but if you have a static network and you wanna change the IP address, just uncheck this box, automatically configure all network information, and enter the DNS server and the IP address information and click on apply, and this device will be in your static network. And the next option is personal cloud. So you want to join into a personal cloud where, or maybe you want to access your data from remotely, or you want to give some access to a particular shares or files to particular user across the globe over the internet. You can configure the personal cloud on this particular NAS IX2, and you can start sending the invitations to other users to join your personal cloud. And to configure it, it's very simple. I would say you just have to click on my personal cloud, and okay, well, so I do not have the internet right now, so I'll not be able to demonstrate, but it's like you just need to enable the port 50500, and you need to have the internet connection connected with the NAS, where the NAS should be able to connect or maybe talk to the public or over the internet or WAN. And once you port forward port 50500, port 8080, and port 443 to the NAS IP address from your WAN, then it should be configured, and then later you can send the invitations to your maybe if you're using it for office purpose, you can send it to your colleagues or maybe your friends, something like that. Or maybe you want to access your data from remote location, or you're working from remotely and you want to have the data available for you all the time. You can actually do that using this option. And the other option is file transfer. So this option is useful when you have a camera which is compatible with the NAS. You can actually if you have captured some pictures using your camera, you connect the camera using the USB port of the NAS, and you can actually transfer the files from the camera to any of the folder. For example, if you turn it on, you can actually select any of the folder or maybe share. For me, I've selected picture. If I have a camera, I can directly connect using the USB cable from camera to the NAS, and the picture transfer would happen, and all the pictures will be transferred to the NAS device. So that's about the picture transfer option. Then we have the printers. If you have any USB printer or maybe the plug and play printers, UPnP printers in your network, or maybe you want to connect it directly through USB to the NAS, you can connect, and that will be visible here. For example, you have an UPnP printer, you can actually connect that to the NAS device, and you can see the printer connected information here, and that will work as the network printer as well. So you can print through the NAS IP address from in your network. The next option is protocols. Here you can actually enable and disable the common protocols we have. The first one is Apple file transfer. So this protocol is useful for Macintosh laptops or desktops. So what it basically does is this is again a protocol to access the shares from the NAS device from Mac laptops or Macintosh operating system. So if you have a Macintosh laptop or desktop you want to use it, you can actually turn it on and you can start accessing these shares. And the other one is Bluetooth. So Bluetooth doesn't work directly, so if you turn it on it will not work, because you need to have a Bluetooth dongle which works as a medium between the NAS and your any devices like mobile phones or maybe laptops, something like that. And the third is FTP, which you can enable. Then the fourth one is NFS, then rsync, SNMP, TFTP, web access, and Windows DFS. It's a distributed file system. And the last one is Windows file sharing. So the Windows file sharing should be turned on always, so that it will be accessible. The shares of the NAS will be accessible over the network to any Windows clients. And coming back to the FTP, I have already a video which is posted in YouTube. Maybe you can go through that to find out how to configure it. And the rsync is useful to transfer the data between device to device, or maybe from the NAS to a Linux computer, or from a Linux server to the NAS, vice versa. Using the copy job you can do that. And the SNMP is the traps, where if you have a SNMP server or an application which pulls the data information across all the server or network, and you want to integrate this NAS device with your application, you can actually enable this and provide the username, password, confirm password, and trap receiver is the server where you want to send these traps. Then the web access, TFTP, so you can actually enable or disable any options, or maybe any protocol you want to use it, you can enable, turn it on, or turn it off if it is not required. Then the secure mind video surveillance, actually it will this icon will appear when you have the latest version of firmware, but this application by default will not be installed. And this application is useful to record the video surveillance camera videos to the NAS device. And to install it, you just need to click on install secure mind surveillance manager, and if the device is connected to internet, it will directly download from secure mind website. And by default IX2 comes with single camera license. If you have single camera and you want to record your video, you can install this application and you can configure it with your camera, and your camera recordings will be captured and recorded on this NAS device. And you want to buy more license, you can actually contact Mindtree who does develop this software, and they would help you with the license. And the other option we have is security. So the security option is nothing but you wanna secure your web console, or maybe you wanna enable the administrator user account with the NAS. By default, if you are using a firmware version below 4.1, so there will not be any username password set with any of the device. So in that case, you wanna protect your NAS web console and all these shares. You can actually enable it and turn it on, and you can enter the username password when it is asked. So for me it is not asking because I've already enabled while creating it. And the setup is nothing but it will give you a popular items, while if you are the first time user of the device and you want to set it up, you can actually go through the step-by-step process. However, it would not give you much of information. It'll just take you step by step, what to do, and where to configure what. For example, media server, you want to configure date and time, email, and personal cloud. Then the shares, this is where you create the folders, or maybe in the storage terminology we call it as shares, CAFS shares, or maybe an FSS you call when we access it from Windows or Linux machines. But this is where you can actually create a share, or just a folder you can call it, and you can delete a share as well, or maybe you can provide the access permissions for any number of users or everyone, or you have a particular user you have created on this NAS and you wanna give access to that particular user. You can actually click on add access permissions, and you can see whatever the users are available, and you can select it. So you can basically restrict each share based on the permissions you set. The shares will be restricted and the user will be able to access. Then the next option is software updates. So this is where you actually upgrade the device firmware. So for me, it shows up to date because this device currently is not connected to internet. But if your device or maybe any device is connected to internet, it will pull the information and it will find out what is the latest release for this particular device, and it will show here the status with there is a new firmware available or something like that. But in my case, I can do it offline, so I can actually download it from the Lenovo website, and I can install it from here. Add software, and you browse the file, upload it, and click apply, and that will actually upgrade the device firmware. And well, if you want to know more about how to upgrade or how to download a firmware for your best suit of your device, you can actually go through. There is a video available in YouTube which I have posted with demonstrating on how to select the right firmware for any particular Lenovo Iomega device and upgrade the device firmware. And this is support. This is nothing but if you click on it, it will actually redirect to their website, and you will find a lot of question answers, the FAQs, everything, and you can go through that for any particular issue, or you want to know more about the particular device. And the system status, it will the system health status, where you can find everything. The first one is the status of the device. It says this device is operating normally, and the temperature of this device, and the fan of the device. And apart from that, you can find the device name, the version, this is the firmware version, and the memory of the device, the IP address, time, and the security. And here you can find the space utilization based on these shares. And the torrent download option is nothing but you can actually, if your NAS is connected to internet and you wanna download some videos or maybe anything from torrent sites, you can actually do that. You can what you can do is you can download the torrent files from the websites, and you can actually turn this option on, and under settings you can select what is the max bandwidth and the port and the upload speed, and you can select and come back to these shares. Under share you can select which share you wanna, or where you exactly want to have that torrent download. So active folder, you can select. If you enable this active folder, you can either use it for Facebook or Flickr, torrent, YouTube, for anything. So if you select on torrent, so you just need to drag and drop that torrent file under this folder backups, and the NAS would start downloading the content, whatever it could be a video or something. It will download directly on this particular share backups. So that is how the torrent works. Then the UPS management is nothing but if you have a UPS connected to the device, then it will show up the UPS battery usage, or maybe the UPS is functioning, all those details. So since I do not have any UPS connected, it would not show any information about it. And the next option is users and groups. This is where you can actually add or create a user account or group, or maybe you can delete any user account. And this is the quota setting, where you can set up a quota for all the users of the NAS. Maybe you can provide 5 GB, 10 GB or something like that, and all the users, whoever access the shares, will have only that particular quota limit across all the shares. And you can actually create a user account. Maybe I would create a test. Description can be anything, testing, and the password. And you have an option called administrator. You want to give the test account admin privileges, you can select that. And if you want to have a secure share folder, or maybe secure share for this particular test account, you can select it. When you select, what happens, the moment you click on create, there will be a test share will be created, and also an account. So likewise, you can also create a group, and under group you can also add different user accounts based on the privileges or permissions you want to give. And this is the inbuilt video surveillance. So if you have cameras and you want to record the video surveillance, this comes by default, but it will not have much of an option because it's very basic applications. But these days, since the securement application is coming up, so that is that gives a lot of other functionality, and you can customize in a way that to record at what times, all the stuff. So I don't see this option is so much useful. But yes, I mean, if you do not have securement, or you don't want to use this application, then yes, I mean, the inbuilt application is always useful. And the last option we have is YouTube. So again, this is again a client, so this works as Facebook, as we discussed about Flickr and torrent. So that's all about the all features tab. And just to discuss more about the features available here, so these are the shortcuts. I would say common, you will find some icons like the copy job, home settings, shares, users and groups. The cloud service, here you would find the Amazon and all those the backup softwares, applications, and the personal cloud. Then the system, you would find all the system related icons. Then the backup, this is where you would see again all those backup clients and the copy jobs. Then the media, this is where the media server, Flickr, torrent, YouTube comes up. And storage, here you have copy jobs, drive management, external storage, iSCSI shares. So these are the shortcuts. For example, you don't want to go to all features and find out where exactly the icon is. You can actually segregate. Since these are segregated already, you just need to find out where exactly the icon is available, or what information you are exactly looking for, and you can click on that. You will find that information. So I hope this video is would be helpful for you. So keep watching for or looking for more updates about my videos. So I'm gonna put some few more videos with latest firmware which is released recently, which is 4.1.104, with the different features, and I'll also include the copy jobs which I promised already. So thank you so much for watching.